my first business when I was 15 years old. My parents told me to go get a job, so I wanted the flexibility that being an entrepreneur could provide. So I started pushing a lawnmower up and down the street. Ultimately, the goal for that business was to put me through college, which it ultimately did. After that, it just continued to grow and grow and grow, so I ultimately left accounting at about 25 years old and continued to grow that business. Unfortunately, it did grow a little bit too fast for us, and ultimately I didn't have the systems in place or the know-how to keep that business growing. So ultimately, things started going bad. It ended up failing. It left me in a very, very low point in my life where I ultimately had to file bankruptcy to get out from underneath it. It was an enormous learning point in my life, and ultimately I had to go back to accounting and try to make ends meet after that. Several years of doing accounting made me realize that I wasn't passionate about it. I had an entrepreneurial fire that I couldn't ignore, and so I ultimately got back into business for myself, doing the fitness business. I thought this time things would be different, as I was extremely passionate about exercise. I thought, I know it all already. I have a background in accounting. I've been out in the real world for a lot of years now, and I thought, I can do this. I just have to learn a little bit about fitness, and I can make things happen. The revenue was just dropping, and I found myself really using up all my savings. I was living off my wife's income at the time, and I did what most people do. I looked at expanding in order to make increased revenues. I ultimately invested in a full fitness center, a former Bally's. All that did for me was make things worse. I was now highly leveraged, borrowing to the hilt, and trying to learn more about the fitness industry that I didn't understand. At this point, I realized history was about to repeat itself. I was at a point where my marriage was failing, and I was hitting rock bottom. I was ready to close the doors once again. It's funny how things in life happen for a reason, just at the right time. I got a phone call from Jeff Tomazeski saying I need to go check out these guys from NPE and how they were going to change my life. I watched a testimonial from Jeff, and I kind of figured at that point, if he can do it, so can I. I called him one day and I asked him to give me a little advice. If I was to hire NPE, what should I do? And he literally said to me, shut up and follow the damn instructions. So I did. And now I've been with NPE about a year now, and things are changing.
I've always wanted to work in the fitness business, and Matt had approached me about coming, and I kept saying this was just an expensive hobby that I would do. But with all of the systems that he has in place, he's made it possible for me to work here full-time, doing what I love to do.
I got together with NPE in September of 2011, give or take, and I grabbed Evolution Accelerator, and it took me about a week or so to realize that I needed to be all in. If I was going to go for this and make this business work, I needed to go with every system they had. And literally a week later, I became a VIP member. In October, I decided I wanted to go to mega training with Jeff, and I spent money that I didn't have. We were financially strapped, but there was no way I wasn't going to go. I had to be there. So I went down there, and it was the most amazing experience to be around an enormous amount of people that had the exact same story I did. So I gained a lot of confidence being at mega training, and I decided at that point I needed to be on stage and presenting like all the other members of the year prior to me, and I wanted to fulfill my dreams like the rest of the NPE VIP members have. There was no laser-focused approach to what we were doing at the time. I wanted to jump into marketing right away, as I thought that was my weakness. Ultimately, the coaches at NPE, Alan and Camelia, kept pushing back on me, telling me I had to get my systems in place because what good is marketing if I couldn't close my sales? What good was it if our staff couldn't fulfill the demand? So I couldn't do it fast enough. I went on vacation and I did what ultimately I realize now is a bad thing, but I spent my entire vacation getting through AutoCloser and Duplicator and Commander. I couldn't get through it fast enough. I knew that I had to dedicate myself to getting through that so I could move on and start making money. I had an epiphany while I was there that I needed to change a lot about my business. Our systems needed to change, our organizational charts needed to change. I was on the phone with Dick trying to figure out how I was going to tell my right-hand person that her entire job role was going to change here.
I was hired to do the accounting and admin work. After Matt got into NPE, he had called me from his vacation to tell me that our systems were changing, the structure of the company was changing, and I was now going to be the director of exercise.
The first thing I did was auto closer. I, as a result, now have about a 92% close rate. I realize now the intricacies of what it takes to close a sale and how we need to present things. After that, I moved on to Duplicator. That really helped me lay out the structure of our organizational charts, our job descriptions, our evaluations, and so on. And now, again, all of our staff is very, very fine-tuned on what they need to be doing. There are no more fires to put out. And I'm happy to say that there are many things in my own company I don't know how to do at this point. I've empowered a lot of our staff to do the things they need to do to get the job done.
I was nervous at first, but Matt's confidence and excitement for the new NPE program made us all excited, and it's been turning out very well.
The overall approach to spring training this year was to identify our dream lifestyle. I realized that my dream lifestyle was not to work 70 hours a week and work just so that way everyone else could have jobs. That I needed to really look at my personal life, not just my business, and identify what it is that drove me to continue to have this business. And I realized that it was my kids, and being able to see my children play football and baseball and never wanted to miss their practices or games again.
I do enjoy my job more now. It's what I love to do. I love working with people. It's my passion.
One of the first things Alan had me do was to write down our core values, our 1, 3, and 5-year missions. And they called it the Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal. And that was a goal that, that was so difficult to attain. How in the world could you possibly get that done? A year ago I wrote it, and that was to set the standards in the United States for proactive healthcare. And I kind of joked when I wrote that, thinking, how in the world is Matt Probst in Akron, Ohio going to accomplish that goal? A year later, I'm proud to say we actually figured it out. And we are in talks with a very large insurance company in our area to run a pilot to show that not only we can produce weight loss and improve health, but also maintain that over the course of time. The result will ultimately be that the insurance companies will agree to pay for personal training services and nutrition services. This is something that I dreamed would happen, and we're just about there 1 year later, so we're about 4 years ahead of the curve on this one. I'm confident I can pick up the phone at any time and call any of the VIP members like Tony Maslin and Jeff Tomazeski and Randy Hartz and just have a conversation with them about what I'm going through. And ultimately, I'm starting to, kind of follow in their shoes and have the success that they've had. We got a long way to go, but there's finally a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not scared anymore. We're moving in the right direction. I'm laser focused on where we're going, and I hope to continue to give back to the community as people before me have given to me.